From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, February the 21st, 2023. Israel's Knesset passed the first reading of a judicial reform bill this morning, which would basically give the government full control over choosing judges. Following hours of heated debate with supporters of the legislation claiming it would strengthen democracy in Israel, opponents claiming it would destroy it. The bill passed its first round, 63 in favor, 47 against. The Times of Israel cited Israel's President Isaac Herzog telling the Besheva conference about the passage later that day, there is a feeling of sadness because many citizens from all parts of Israeli society, including many people who voted for this coalition, are anxious about the unity of the nation. He said we must make every effort so that after this vote it will be possible to continue negotiations to reach an agreed-upon outline that will take us out of this difficult period into a period of agreed-upon constitutional reform, stressing that the bill still had to pass second and third readings and that there was still time to reach a compromise. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, meanwhile, reassured American Jews about the judicial reforms. In his keynote address to the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations 2023 Leadership Conference on Sunday, Netanyahu told those gathered they need not worry.
Israel is a democracy and will remain a democracy with majority rule and proper safeguards for civil liberties. That's the first thing. Second thing is all democracies should respect the will of other free peoples, just as we respect their democratic decisions. The third is that there's been a lot of rhetoric that is frankly reckless and dangerous, including calls for bloodshed in the streets and calls for a civil war. It ain't going to happen. There's not going to be any civil war.
And in a statement to the Israeli public today, after the passage of the first reading, Netanyahu said, "People of Israel, it's time to talk," saying talks should be held without preconditions, without excuses, referring to the preconditions asked by Herzog and opposition leaders to halt legislation to allow for discussion. Jewish Federations of North America sent a letter to Netanyahu and to opposition leader Yair Lapid today on the matter, calling for such compromise discussions. Written, it said, out of a deep and abiding love for the state of Israel. The letter said, first, we urge you each to fully embrace the proposals set forth by the President of Israel, saying his process will ensure that the views of all stakeholders are fully considered. Second, we urge you to make clear that a majority of just 61 votes of the Knesset is not sufficient to override a decision of the Supreme Court. We recognize that any system of checks and balances will be different than those in our own countries, but, Federations wrote, such a dramatic change to the Israeli system of governance will have far-reaching consequences in North America, both within the Jewish community and in the broader society. Members of the UN Security Council yesterday released a joint presidential statement against Israel's recent announcement of legalizing outposts and construction in the West Bank, saying it was concerned and dismayed. The statement read that it reiterates that continuing Israeli settlement activities are dangerously imperiling the viability of the two-state solution. The statement also condemned all acts of violence against civilians, including acts of terrorism, and noted the obligation of the Palestinian Authority to renounce and confront terror. Netanyahu criticized the statement from the UN, saying it denies the rights of Jews to live in our historic homeland, fails to mention the Palestinian terror attacks in Jerusalem in which 10 Israeli civilians were murdered, ignores the Palestinian Authority's grotesque pay-for-slay policy, which subsidizes the murder of Jews and belittles the evil of anti-Semitism, which has resulted in the slaughter of millions. The statement, Netanyahu said, should never have been made, and the United States should never have joined it. Jewish actor and comedian Richard Belzer has died. Belzer's television work included portraying wisecracking Jewish detective John Munch on Homicide: Life on the Streets, Law and Order SVU, and more. His film work included Scarface and Fame. He worked in radio and as a stand-up comedian, The Hollywood Reporter noting his early stint as warming up audiences on Saturday Night Live. He was also a published author. Richard Belzer died Sunday at the age of 78. Well, Israel opened its first ever national pavilion at the IDEX Defense Exhibition in Abu Dhabi yesterday, the largest arms and defense technology sales exhibition in the Middle East. Israel's defense ministry said its participation was part of joint efforts to strengthen defense relations with the Abraham Accords countries. Also making history, Israel's aerospace industries, together with two government entities of the Emirates, conducted a joint demonstration at the exhibition of an unmanned vessel they produced together. Boaz Levy of Israel Aerospace said for the first time, cooperation between Israel and the United Arab Emirates has resulted in an advanced technological product, which includes autonomous systems and robotics. Our advanced technology allows us to leverage business opportunities, ensuring the growth of both companies for many customers around the world. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, February the 21st at 7 o'clock, Rabbi Ammiel Hirsch talks about the crossing of the Red Sea as it relates to refugees fleeing war. At 7:30, it's episode 2 of the hit Israeli series Srugim. At 8, Benjamin Anthony speaks with General Chiko Tamir, former IDF commander of the Golani Brigade and the IDF Gaza Division. At 9, it's part 1 of Mordechai Kedar on L'chaim. At 10, Hussein Aboubakr talks about his journey of imprisonment in Egypt to asylum in the U.S. And coming up next, it's Good Week, Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, February the 21st, 2023. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.